India will play their first test against England on June 20, but today, Ayaz, we have to talk about the World Test Championship final. Now, this is the third installment of the WTC cycle, and Australia go in as defending champions. And they also go in as favourites, and it would be quite an upset if South Africa do win. But if they do win, what would that mean for South Africa and Test cricket as a whole?
I think that it would just add a real new dimension to the 5-day format, because Australia odds-on favourite, as we know now. I mean, South Africa, in fact, have squeaked past India to be in this final. India had a miserable time against New Zealand at home. They were whitewashed. They went to Australia, suffered even more defeats, and therefore they were marginalized. They were sidelined. And South Africa had a good streak of wins. So they are in the final. Now, this is an opportunity, I think, for South Africa, certainly, for God knows how long they've been known as chokers. They've had some terrible upheavals where their playing personnel are concerned. It's been crisis-ridden, the cricket in South Africa. Now, this is an opportunity to set a lot of things right. But I think above all else, it's to, if you beat a favourite team like Australia, and Australia have been a colossal power in international cricket, as we know, for more than a century, ever since they started playing. Now, if you upset a team like Australia, it just kind of opens up new vistas, new horizons for all of the teams that are playing. Not just India and England, this triumvirate of Australia, India and England, who seems to hog all the attention. But if South Africa wins here, then, teams like Pakistan, like Sri Lanka, certainly even the West Indies, who it seems are on their way back again or way up in terms of the administration, could start looking at red ball cricket with far greater optimism. Because if you win, a lot of things follow as a consequence. The public expectation, public adulation, and with that comes revenue and sponsorship and so on. Now, I'm just kind of building up a kind of scenario where what a boost it would be for red ball cricket if a team like South Africa wins this final.
Yeah, and moving on, of course, we'll keep an eye on the WTC cycle, as will the Indians who are already there, they're practicing. But we do need to talk about the India-England series, but not about the cricket particularly. Let's talk about the name change. The Pataudi Trophy has been renamed the Anderson-Tendulkar Trophy, which has caused quite a bit of outrage online. So where do you stand on this issue?
Well, I think, it's unusual. Though we've been hearing about this for the past 3-4 months. I think ever since March that this is likely to happen. Obviously, it's not promoted by the players. It's been promoted by the boards. The suggestion has come from the boards. Now, it's unusual, as I mentioned. It just kind of triggers off a thought in me. Is this some kind of an emerging trend? Now, why do I say that? It's because there are so many changes that take place. I mean, in stadia, you find, state stands, different names of different players. We've seen the trophy, for instance, Border Gavaskar Trophy. Now, if trophies and names are going to be retired, and remember, the number of cricketers, great cricketers, is never going to be diminishing. It's only going to be increasing. So is there a kind of a thing that being built up that, in future you'll find this becoming it could become a pattern. You find that names retire maybe after 2 decades. The Pataudi Trophy has been there for less than 2 decades. So Tendulkar and Anderson, these are unimpeachable names in terms of India-England rivalry, like Border and Gavaskar. But I'm just thinking, going ahead, is the Border Gavaskar Trophy going to be 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, the Kohli-Smith Trophy or the Kohli-Cummins Trophy or some such thing? So I don't know what the rationalization, how do these things work. But having said that, like Border Gavaskar, very well merited in terms of their stature, in international cricket, so too Tendulkar and Anderson. You can't have a dispute with the names. You can always question that, what about Pataudi? Maybe something else should be, is there going to be some kind of replacement for Pataudi in the scheme of things? I have no idea as yet. But I think that, this could mark, I think, in a sense, the emergence of some kind of a trend going ahead.
Yeah, and lastly, talking about trends, Nicholas Pooran has just retired from international cricket a few days after Heinrich Klaasen did the same. Now, this is also an emerging trend, Ayaz, and what do you think this means for cricket going forward?
I think there is a serious wake-up call, but I don't know how and what can be done. For instance, cricket boards like the West Indies, which were impoverished, they're doing pretty well now. I believe they've posted a profit. But I was just reading some stories, Nicholas Pooran retiring, and before that, Heinrich Klaasen. Now, both these players, in their total money earnings that they get from playing various leagues across the world, the central contract of playing for the West Indies or playing for South Africa gives them barely 3 to 4 or 5, maybe 6% of their total revenue. While if you look at it in the case of a Joe Root or a Virat Kohli or a Mitchell Stark, Steve Smith, that figure balloons up to 32, 33%. Now that I think is the problem, because if a Kohli or a Root or a Mitchell Stark gets 33, 34% of his salary or his entire year's earnings from being part of the establishment, then you don't need to look elsewhere too hard. But if it is going to be 3% or 4%, that means your opportunity cost looking beyond your own country or your own board is phenomenally high. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at very seriously, especially when you find that talented players like Nicholas Pooran. I was, in fact, to my amazement, I realized that he's not played a single test match. He's 29 years old. He was a under 19 star. He's had an accident, come back courageously from that, and become a white ball star. But he's never played a test match. Now, this is the kind of talent that is being lost. Heinrich Klaasen played some test matches. He's also gone. He's only 33. He's not 43. So I think that there is a serious kind of prod to the cricket establishment at the ICC level as well as at the respective board levels, that this is a lurking danger. It's a big threat, and with T20 leagues not showing any sign of falling by the wayside, some may, but more and more T20 leagues are consolidating. So there will always be this ding dong battle between where will I get more money, what's my opportunity cost, and do I need to really hang around where playing for my board, my country, where actually my earnings are going to diminish so badly that I am the loser. That's the equation.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And as I said earlier, June 20 is the start of the first test between India and England. And we'll come to you with a preview of that series in a couple of days. So that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Alvin. We'll catch up soon. Yeah, bye.